I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday morning or Thursday night if you're hanging out with us. Coming off quite the banger. Raiders, Broncos. You know, I mean, I didn't bet the game, but I picked Raiders and under. Should have bet it. Would have nailed it, but no, I didn't. Did you have a bet in the game?
Yeah, I had the Broncos, unfortunately. And yes, I think you're being kind, Kyle, with this game because I was looking for a plastic bag to pick up the dog shit that was this Thursday night football game. I mean, let's just start with the Broncos punter. My God, I haven't seen a punter have the yips in a long time. And then they block a punt. They don't recover in the end zone. I had a prop on defensive special teams touchdown. That would have been nice there. The ball bounced in the wrong way. And I felt like the Broncos could dominate, but they just couldn't get any sort of rhythm going. It was a super trash, ugly game. And, you know, my handicap coming into the game was, hey, this Raiders team had 80 plays on defense last week. Now they're traveling at altitude on a short week. They're going to pound the rock. They're going to do the play action. They're going to have Bo Nix scrambling and gas this Raiders defense. Meanwhile, it was just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and the Raiders defense was getting a ton of rest. So it was an ugly game. And for me, we still have an entry in Circus Survivor, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that were on the Broncos. So I kept going back and forth rooting. Hey, should I root for Broncos to cover or should I root for Raiders money line? And both sides of rooting for that, it was just a miserable evening. So not a lot of fun, but bad game. And yeah, like normally we were talking about this right before you went live. I'm a guy who doesn't mind a low scoring defensive game in the NFL when it's good defense. That was not good defense. That was Geno Smith and Bo Nix not being able to complete passes. So very frustrating watch.
Yeah, and in addition to wasn't the sharpest football game in terms of the player performances, man, I've never been a Sean Payton guy. There was one point in the game in particular that really, you're probably going to remember exactly what I'm talking about. So I think it was late in the third quarter. It was 7-7. The Broncos had just missed a field goal. Then they immediately got the football back. And then they had a chance at a long field goal again. You remember that drive and they punted it from like the 39?
Yes.
The play calling on that drive.
Horrible.
Sean Payton made it clear that we're not even trying to win this game. They're going to give it to us eventually. We're just going to run the ball and punt, and the Raiders will lose it.
And I guess it was right. And when you said you were going to criticize Sean Payton, I thought it was they were 3rd and 1. They were finally got the offense going. They had a 3rd and 1. And they run this backwards pass.
Oh my God!
To the receiver, and Cortland Sutton's running the run. You have a mobile quarterback. What run a boot action on 3rd and 1? Run a tush push. Bo Nix is a good runner. Why is that not involved more in the game? The Bo Nix offense and the Broncos offense last year was way more fun to watch. They're constantly moving the pocket. He was constantly running. It plays to his strength. It's very simple. It's like 1 or 2 reads or he runs. And now they're just trying to like sit him back in the pocket, and it's just not his game. He has a couple things he's good at. The play calling is not playing to his strengths on top of him not playing well. Now, luckily for the Broncos, like their defense is awesome. And so they're going to be a tough out. I had a lot of Broncos future, so I guess this is good for Broncos win total, Broncos win the division, that kind of stuff, but certainly not good eye test.
Yeah, the Broncos offense, it's not the worst, but it might be the most boring. There's nothing that really gets you excited about not just like the personnel in the offense, but more so the way he coaches it. It's this year's Broncos offense. You remember the Bengals-Broncos game that was 28-7? The fact that they only scored 28 points in that game is like embarrassing.
Looking back on it, you go, wait, you didn't put up 30 against the Bengals at home?
It was the worst offensive performance by Cincinnati in all season.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Denver team, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of them. They're a very odd handicap. And again, I wasn't in love with them. Normally, division dog, primetime game, it's just an autoplay. I talked myself into Denver because of this weird OT situation spot, which felt like a good spot for the Broncos.
Let's stop talking about this.
Yes.
Cardinals, Seahawks, and Seattle. So as far as the 4 picks you sent in, I disagree. I disagree with 2. 1 I really disagree with, and then I agree with 2. So
okay.
This is one I did bet Seattle, so I do disagree, but I'm not huge on it. So go ahead. You're buying in on this Jacoby Brissett madness.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess everyone's like, oh, you're crazy to back Jacoby Brissett on the road, etc. And I totally understand that. To me, this is more about, and yeah, Jacoby Brissett looked good against the Cowboys. Every NFL quarterback will look good against the Cowboys defense. To me, what was really interesting and really had me intrigued here taking the Cardinals was this defense for the Cardinals really came to play against the Cowboys offense. This Cowboys offense, as bad as the Cowboys defense has been, the Cowboys offense, as tough as it is for me to say as an Eagles fan, Rain Dakota Prescott was having a career year, and this Cardinals team went in there and punched them in the mouth. We finally got to see the debut of Walter Nolan on the interior there with Josh Sweat on the outside. And that's how you get to Sam Darnold. When Sam Darnold has looked bad, it's been at home facing a pass rush. And I think this Cardinals team can bring the heat. I also think the fact that they decided to bench Kyler in favor of Jacoby Brissett, I think got this team a little juice.
He's hurt.
Oh, yes, he's hurt. He's hurt. I mean, and then all the videos, he was diagnosed with J.J. McCarthy, and so he'll be on the J.J. McCarthy plan. Trey McBride, three touchdowns with Jacoby Brissett in a handful of games. Meanwhile, the story with Kyler was he couldn't get in the end zone at all. I get it. The Seattle team, you look at the advanced numbers, if you're a DVOA person, they've been really jumping off the page. And I like Seattle. I was on Seattle last week against Washington. I just think this is a empty the tank game. I think this Cardinals team is going to be up, and I think you're going to get a very competitive effort from this Cardinals team. I think it's going to be a game. So I think 7's way too high.
I disagree. I think it should be 7.5 or higher. So, okay, yeah, it was a good offensive game for the Cardinals, but by Cowboys defense standards, that was actually a below average offensive game. That was actually below par for what everyone else is doing against them. So, I mean, I'm not throwing anyone a parade for having a good offensive game against Dallas. I mean, clearly the offense is functioning with Brissett in there, and this is a different type of beast, this Seattle defense. Arizona's not going to be able to run the ball. They do have some talent at wide receiver, and Brissett is clearly playing with confidence. I'm sure he'll make a throw or two, but it's really on the other side. I know the Cardinals defense has played well, especially up front, but man, the injuries to the secondary here. Budda Baker's not practicing. Max Melton's not practicing. Will Johnson has now been downgraded and not practicing. Those are the only 3 healthy guys they have in the whole secondary. Garrett Williams is back. He missed a few games. He's back, so that's huge. It's just the secondary that was already injured is now more injured, and the way Sam Darnold is throwing the football right now, I think the whole Cardinals are playing good defense. They are. I think comes to a screeching halt in this one. And I also, when these two teams played in Arizona, wasn't that a Thursday night game or was it Monday? No, it was Thursday night, I think, when they played earlier in the season. Yeah. Yep. I picked Cardinals and under in that game, and it was actually tied at the end, and Seattle kicked a field goal to win it at the end. That game was not that close. Like, Seattle was considerably better, and I know that was the Kyler Murray Cardinals, but Seattle was considerably the better team. And since then, this Seattle offense has just taken it to a whole new level. The only defense that was able to even slightly slow them down was Houston. That's probably the best defense in the NFL. So I don't think this Cardinals secondary can hold the passing attack down. So yeah, I think Seattle wins comfortably, but the one I strongly disagree with you on is a couple.
Okay. No, I mean, and again, I think the public is way in on Seattle. And to me, Arizona's done a good job. Even in their losses, they've kept it competitive. I'm trying to go back and find a game, that they even the Titans they lost. It was still a 1-point game. Like they haven't lost by 2 scores the entire season. So I think they're just a team that's going to keep it close regardless of situation.
All right, let's move on to the next one. And I agree with you on this one. I just hate that. Like, I feel like it has to be the Ram. I hate that feeling where it's like
you hate that it's too obvious. And
I don't want to say like obvious, but like I hate that I can't even really make a case for San Francisco. I hate that feeling.
And that's how you know you've been in the handicapping game for a long time, is that you get scared when you're like, I can't even make a case for 49ers plus 4.5. The case for the 49ers is Shanahan always seems to, historically, has done pretty well against McVay. I think he's up 11-7, both straight up in ATS. But for me, this 49ers team has been an auto fade off a win. I think since December 2023, there's something like 1-13 ATS off a straight up win. They just lost Mikael Williams, who was like their last really good defensive player that was healthy. And I don't even care who plays, Mac Jones, Brock Purdy, either way. This Rams team, it's less about buying this Rams team because maybe they are a little inflated coming off that win against the Saints. They obviously looked awesome. It was the Saints. Puka is going to be out there. You have in-season revenge against a division opponent. And the Rams' success against the 49ers has actually come at Levi Stadium historically, right? Like, I think something about playing in SoFi and having the 49ers fans call it SoFi South and they come there and they take it over. I think that gets in the Rams' head there a little bit, and they play better. If you've just looked at the matchups, they play better on the road against this 49ers team. And I just think this 49ers team is just held together with they're barely held together. And I think they can slow down Christian McCaffrey. So I just don't think the 49ers have a ton of outs here.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe you could say the 49ers, they tackle well, they're well coached. Maybe they could stop the Rams from running the ball. But like, they can't pressure the quarterback. So you're talking about Matt Stafford with clean pockets. There's and a healthy Puka Nacua, or he's supposed to be healthy. I just don't see how they're able to make stops. And when it comes, I know the 49ers just beat the Rams on Thursday night, but if you watch that game, I mean, there might have been a little bit of element of surprise there. I mean, that same little underneath crossing route with Kendrick Bourne was open like 4 or 5 times in the first half, and they really shut it down in the second half. And I don't see where the success is coming from on offense for San Francisco. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's awesome, but as a whole, San Francisco hasn't really been consistently running the ball this year. Mac Jones has not had success throwing the ball downfield. His passer rating on passes of 20 more yards is terrible. What was there in the Rams games was that same little underneath crossing route that I feel like they connected on that 4 or 5 times for huge plays. They shut it down in the second half, and I just feel like Kyle Shanahan had the element of surprise there. They came out with a really cool game plan that caught the Rams off guard in the first half, and then the Rams shorted up. And when I say the Rams have shorted up, they've allowed 20 combined points since then in the last 3 games.
It's crazy.
20 points in 3 games. This Rams defense is playing as well as any defense in the NFL. They should be able to get plenty of pressure on Mac Jones. I don't think the 49ers can run the ball. Christian McCaffrey is obviously awesome, but I'm not sure how much push they'll get. Maybe that they're getting they might be getting the center back, Brendel, but I still don't think they're going to be able to run the ball in this Rams defense. I hate that. I don't want to use the word obvious. I hate that. Like it feels like my decision's made. I don't know. How do you not take the Rams? I don't have a bet on this game, but it's only Rams.
Let's go. Just ram it, baby.
Just ram it. This is the one where you are flat out wrong. You are.
Oh man, I love this game.
Oh my God, no.
Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers +3 all day against this Los Angeles Chargers team. Obviously, you know Tomlin's record as a dog. I know you're not a Tomlin believer, but he is 67-40-2 ATS as a dog. But to me, you cannot lay points with this Chargers team without Joe Alt. I watched the Titans game as someone that was on the Chargers. It was night and day the amount of pressure that Justin Herbert takes when Joe Alt is not out there. It's a completely different team with and without Joe Alt there. And I just struggle to see how they're going to keep this competitive against the Steelers team that is going to have the home crowd. The Chargers are a way worse version of the Rams. Like, they play better on the road than they do at home, and the point spread I don't think reflects that. Like, the Chargers team as a home favorite against someone that's going to have the crowd is a really tough out, especially with no Joe Alt. So why am I off here, Sauce?
because the Steelers aren't good. I mean, we see one game where the Colts gave them 6 turnovers, and all of a sudden we've forgotten everything. Last week against the Colts, they got 6 turnovers, and still the Colts had the ball with a chance to tie it at the end. At home, getting 6 turnovers, how is that not a comfortable win? In that
well, to your point, they're not a good team, but they can trip up a Chargers team. And you look at Justin Herbert. I mean, that pick 6 he threw was horrible. And if you have a knock on Herbert, his interceptions are way up. His turnover-worthy throws are way up compared to last year because he's getting pressure in his face, and he's going to see a shit ton of pressure against this Steelers team with T.J. Watt and the rest of the Steelers pass rush. So I think they are going to win the turnover margin here again. I think they're live to win this game. And, yeah, the O-line injury is huge for me.
I don't disagree that the Steelers pass rush against the Chargers offensive line is a situation. I like Trevor Penning. I thought he was going to be a good player on the Saints. Obviously, his career is he was injured, and then he's on the Saints. So how much opportunity do you really even have there to flourish? So they did pick up Trevor Penning. I doubt that fixes anything, at least not immediately. Yeah, the Steelers pass rush against the Chargers offensive line is a concern without a doubt, but I feel like we kind of just all forgot that the Steelers secondary sucks and the Chargers have weapons. The Steelers can't cover anybody. So, yeah, they're going to get a lot of pressure on Herbert. I think he completes a pass on every single time he has a clean pocket. He completes a pass because the Steelers secondary, it's injured as hell. They've been struggling to cover teams all year. And the Steelers offense, by the way, how on earth did they only score 27 points last week? The Steelers offense averaged 4.2 yards per play, 1.8 yards per carry last week. They were gifted the ball in Colts territory 4 times. How do you only score 27? That's terrible. Their offense looked horrible.
No, I don't think their offense is great, but I think it's going to be a similar formula to what they did against Daniel Jones. You're going to pressure him, you're going to force mistakes, and you're not going to let their passing game get going. And this Chargers team, it's not like they're a ground and pound team where they can establish the run and then use that to set up the play action. No, they need to get the passing game going to open up the running game. So that's kind of where I see the domino going. And I think the Steelers can do enough. I'm also not a huge totals person, but I think this is a dead nut under.
Me too.
Yeah, I got this like 21-17 Steelers.
21-17 Chargers. I trust it. Yes, I agree on the under. In fact, let's put the under up.
Yeah, toss that in.
So we can have an agreement on the board here. So I agree with the under too. But yeah, I don't think I think the Steelers offense looks terrible. I think the secondary is terrible. And yeah, I think the Chargers are by the way, we didn't even mention Chargers defense looks all the way back since getting Mack and Perryman back. Back-to-back great defensive games. Yeah. Steelers ain't doing shit in this game. Chargers. Next up. All right. Eagles, Packers, Green Bay. I agree with your look here. I'm a little pissed because I was considering there was a +3 available.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you like the Eagles to get it done.
Yeah, obviously I'm always going to be on the Eagles, but I do think in particular this is a good spot. I mean, let's just start with the rest disparity. Now, I would have liked playing the Packers better if they hadn't lost outright as a massive dog there against the Panthers, although I was on a round-robin moneyline parlay that had Panthers, Vikings, and Falcons. So I hit 2 out of 3, and it ended up being a huge cash, but the fucking Falcons missed that extra point. I really had a chance to sweep that board, but alas, the Packers coming off that loss to the Panthers, maybe it's more of a get-up spot, but either way, it's Monday night. They're going to be jacked for this game. But losing Tucker Kraft, who is 25% of their passing yards, let's just start there. Jordan Love loves throwing off his back foot. I don't think that's going to work against this Eagles defense. They traded for Jalen Phillips. You got Brandon Graham coming out of retirement, Nolan Smith coming off the IR, and in general, the defense seemed to be headed in the right direction there. And then on the offensive side, A.J. Brown's going to be back off the bye. This team is healthy, and Jalen Hurts as a dog, you're going to have to talk me out of a guy who just wins 70% of his starts or whatever it is, not to take him in this situation. They also voted to ban the tush push. They were the one fighting the tush push. The Eagles passionately fought back for the tush push. The Eagles have this game circled, and I'm also going to the game. I have a pretty good record, both straight up and ATS, attending Eagles games, never been to Lambeau. So add that onto the reason of why the Eagles are going to cover. I'm going to personally motivate some of the Eagles there. I just think this is a good matchup for him. And this Packers offense is going to struggle to move the ball. And Saquon's going to have a good game. Hurts has been playing. I don't know, whatever it is, the market's never going to give Hurts the MVP. 15 passing touchdowns, 1 interception, 5 rushing touchdowns, number 1 seed right now in the NFC, and no one's even looking at him for MVP. And the storylines previously, there's like, Saquon's carried him. Saquon hasn't done shit. I mean, he had a good game against the Giants, but he's not having some 2,000-yard season. So I don't know what the haters are saying that Jalen Hurts doesn't deserve to be in the MVP conversation, but whatever. He's going to have a good game as well. So this is a smash spot for the Eagles.
I agree, and I'm going to bet this. Yeah, Jalen Hurts playing as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now. He's delivering from a clean pocket. He's handling pressure well. I like that the Eagles showed me something on the ground. Granted, it was against the Giants, but it was only a matter of time before the Eagles started running the ball again. And to see this at a strong 2.5, 3 is just off. You got the Eagles coming off a bye week. They're the reigning Super Bowl champions. If they got this at a strong 2.5, 3, they're saying that the Packers are better than the Eagles on a neutral. And I just don't understand what we've seen.
Yeah, what warrants that? And
exactly.
the Eagles offensive line is getting healthy too. Like, this Eagles offensive line was beat up, and that was a big part of their lack of success early on offensively. Like, Hurts wasn't getting a clean pocket. They weren't getting a good push in the run game. But now you give this offensive line 15 days of rest. You give a hungry team that's Super Bowl champs. You disrespect them and make them a dog on Monday night, and there are going to be a lot of Eagles fans there. So this is a good spot for them as a dog.
Yeah, what warrants the Packers being power rated higher than the Eagles in the market? I don't understand. I feel like it's because they beat Detroit so handedly in the first half of the opener. Yeah. That's it. Based on other than that, like, both teams have had their ups and downs. I don't understand.
No, I get into this argument with Packers fans all the time, and they finally shut up after last week, but they were just hammering, these guys hate the Packers. I go, I don't hate the Packers. They didn't cover against the Cardinals. They lost outright at home to the Browns. They obviously just lost outright at home to the Panthers. They've had a lot of games where they didn't look good, and you nailed it, Kyle, is they got their power rating jumped up tremendously after that week 1 game. Everyone's like, they're the sexy, this team's gonna roll, and then they haven't really done much since that. Like, what's their quality win after that home win?
Steelers, I guess.
Yeah, and even that, they were down in that first half, and if he doesn't connect on that Tucker Kraft throw off his back foot, which, again, hats off to him, they connected on it. That was a bit of a prayer throw. If that doesn't go in, they might lose that game right there. So I haven't seen a dominant team to warrant making them better on a neutral. To your point, like, they just shot up their power ratings week 1, and the market just has not adjusted. Yeah. This team's horrible, ATS.
Yeah, this should be about a pick, if you ask me. And so the Packers opened up with back-to-back impressive games. They dominated the Commanders in week 2, although it looks less impressive now. But at the time, we thought that was impressive. Yeah. They dominated the Commanders in week 2. Since then, they've covered the number one time, and they were losing that game at half.
Well, and that was the other thing. Commanders at the time was seen as like a high-quality win. Now looking at the 8 games the Packers have played, what was their good win? Lions. That's it.
The Eagles won at Arrowhead. They won in Tampa. Like, I don't understand.
They beat the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to be betting Philly in this one.
Come on.
I'm with you. So sports. Just tell them where they can find your stuff. His episode was last night, by the way.
Sports Gambling Podcast. Yep, we pick every NFL game against the spread. We also do a props episode. We also have a whole network of shows. Moneyline Mac comes on here a bunch, talks college hoops. They do the college experience, hitting on both college and football. So a bunch of great stuff. But yeah, Sports Gambling Podcast, Sports Gambling Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, I watch it every week. It's on. They go through the entire slate on Wednesday nights. They also have Colby on Tuesday nights, and they go through the college football slate. SGPN, Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Just type it right into YouTube. Sean.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep. Talk soon.
All right. Later, dude.
All right. It's time to get the duck on. Talk some college ball. What's up, man?
Dude, how we doing?
We're doing fine. How are you doing?
Living the dream, man. Just enjoyed the slate tonight and getting geared up for college hoops. So it's a busy time of the year, but it's a lot of good stuff happening here. South Florida, man, what an ass whooping.
Yeah. I was considering betting UTSA in that too. Thank God I didn't. So I guess I have to mention that Kansas State did fall short. I was pretty bullish on Kansas State. Oh man,
it happens.
But I'll take my Fresno trophy.
There you go.
Yeah. So
tip of the cap.
In the two we were arguing, we went 1-1. But I believe the one we put a Subway sandwich on was Kansas State, Texas Tech.
We'll call it even.
Yeah, I think that was a Subway sandwich game. The first game you picked, Tulane, Memphis, which is obviously an excellent football game. I'm a little out on it because, when you're just a little discouraged, I was considering taking Tulane at 7 last Sunday afternoon. So now that it's down to 3.5, 4, I'm like kind of like frustrated. I should have grabbed it. It looks like it's still at 3.5. Do we have an update on Brendan Lewis at this time that you've heard?
Heard the coaching staff said earlier in the week he was a full go. They said he was participating in practice and everything was good.
I read that too.
And now they kind of retracted that. So I think it's gamesmanship, if I'm being honest with you. I think they're just trying to get something out there about maybe he doesn't play. I would imagine he plays unless he's dead. Like, if he can't walk, that's one thing, but this guy has to play. This is the biggest game of the season.
I agree.
Season's in the balance. If you lose this, everything you've worked so hard for is over.
So do you agree with the movement down from 7, 6.5, all the way down to 3.5, 4? Do you agree with the movement?
No, I would take Memphis without batting an eye. I think Tulane is a fraud. I think Tulane is garbage. I think we saw it last week against UTSA. We saw it against ECU. We saw it against Army, where they trailed in the second half of both those games. We saw it on the road against a very, very bad South Alabama team. Tulane has no business being on the same field. They've benefited so significantly this season from opponent mistakes, turnover luck. I mean, they had it coming to them last week, getting flat out embarrassed in the Alamo Dome. I just think it's hard to predict that you're going to continuously rely on the turnover fortune, and I just don't see it happening here. Tulane's not going to go in there and run the ball. Memphis is 4th in defensive EPA per rush allowed. There's not going to get on the ground. So you're going to ask Jake Retzlaff, who's kind of fun. He runs around back there, but you're going to ask him to make plays with his arm on the road against one of the better graded secondaries in the conference. And I just don't think Jake Retzlaff is that good of a passer. This season, 5 big-time throws, 12 turnover-worthy plays, and we just don't see him connect much on the deep shots. He's only completing 29% when his average depth of target is 20 yards or greater. So deep shots, he's not completing those very frequently. When I look at Memphis, the front is very good at providing pressure. Even though the sack numbers haven't been realized this year, they're very good at getting to the quarterback and making them feel the heat. So I think this game is controlled by the Memphis defensive front. I don't know for a fact what's going to happen with Lewis, but I'm going to let this go down even further. And I mean, you best be sure. I'll have a play on Memphis tomorrow.
I don't. So I actually bet. I am betting the other 2 games Friday night. This is the only one I'm not betting. But I think you're ignoring the emotional aspect of this for Tulane. I mean, they're hearing the chirps, man. People are doubting them. And I agree that they've underperformed and haven't looked good. In fact, I believe we were talking about this last week, how Tulane doesn't look good at all. So, but that might have been 2 weeks ago when we were talking about it. So, like, I'm on board with the fact that Tulane doesn't look right. The passing attack hasn't looked right all year. I'm on board with that. This team still has a ton of talent. Everyone's doubting them. It's a revenge game for what Memphis did to them last year. Tulane's usually like the darling of the conference, and now everyone hates them. Everyone's like, Memphis is going to kill them. They're also getting their team captain, Sam Howard, their linebacker, back. He's playing on a broken leg. Sounds like a movie, man. This is a movie for Tulane. They're getting their team captain's playing on a broken leg. Their linebacker there.
Yeah, and make no mistake about it, I don't think Memphis is going to kill them, but I think they'll end up winning by 7-10, and I think that their defense will make Tulane really struggle on the road. So I think the game will be close for some time. I just think that Memphis is the better overall team, offense, defense, and special teams.
Don't you think there's a little bit of recency bias involved there? I mean, this Memphis team did just get beat by UAB with a backup quarterback. That just happened. That wasn't that long ago. I feel like everyone's forgotten that.
I haven't. No, I mean if those two teams played 99 times out of 100, Memphis is going to win. Memphis overlooked them. They didn't show up. I mean, hey, it's a bad loss. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I look at how often that Tulane has been in bad situations in their games, and they have just found ways to get out of it. What if they don't come back against ECU or Army? What if they lose to South Alabama early in the year? What if they're 4-4 right now, like they should be? Then what's the narrative? You know, they've just banked on so much good fortune that I don't think is predictable, and I don't think it's reliable. I don't think it's sustainable to just assume your team is going to secure or procure 3 turnovers and you're just going to have that sort of luck. And we saw it last week. You don't get the luck, and you go on the road and you get destroyed. And by the way, look what UTSA did against North Texas, and look what they did tonight. Lost by 5 touchdowns tonight. Like they are an above average a team in the American Conference, but Tulane is not the team that they were last year.
No, they're not. They're not the team they were last year, but I still think there's a little bit of a recency bias and overreacting on the part of Memphis. I still am not sold on Brendan Lewis being an elite FBS quarterback. And also, man, that South Florida game could have looked a lot different. They were getting their asses beat for 80% of it. All right, let's go on to the next one. James Madison.
I'll make another call too, real quick. Tulane loses at Temple, November 22nd.
I like Keeler. I can see that. I don't disagree with that one. All right, but they win. They beat Memphis first. James Madison laying 13.5 at Marshall, and I'll let you go first. My overall thought. I think the Cinderella story's over with Tony Gibson and this Marshall team. It was adorable. It was fun. I think it might be over. I think James Madison might run them out of their own building here.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And it wasn't adorable or fun for me because I have a Marshall regular season win total under ticket. Now, it's not dead yet, but it's going to really take some crazy something or other to happen because winning as 2 touchdown underdogs back-to-back against ODU and Texas State was not something that I was hoping for. However, the defense for Marshall is very, very bad. They cannot get off the field on 3rd down. They don't get stops in the red zone. They just really struggle tackling in pursuit. And we see it show up with the amount of points that they give up per game, with the amount of yards that they give up per game. The way I'm going to attack this is this, because it is a lot of points to lay on the road with JMU, and there's a chance that maybe JMU doesn't show up focused and really ready to go as we've seen them do on the road a couple of times this year. They weren't ready to go against Georgia State. They weren't ready to go at Liberty. But James Madison has not allowed a single point in the second half of each of their last 2 games. So if you like Marshall, take Marshall for the first half. JMU will wear them down in the second half. But if Marshall happens to go up first, if they score first, and we can grab JMU minus 6.5 live, I'm taking my hardest swing at that. I'm grabbing the axe and chopping that tree down because JMU will come back. They will wear down Marshall and completely gash in the run game. And in the second half, they make really solid second half adjustments. They're very well coached. And that's the reason why they have not allowed a single point against 2 very good teams in Old Dominion and Texas State. 0 points in the second half. I could see the game script kind of going that way as well. So I'm not laying the 13, but if Marshall scores first, I'll jump in, or I'll look JMU second half.
I don't hate that if Marshall scores first. First, let's cut in terms of Marshall's defense. I know the 44 points they give up to Coastal is a little bit misleading. The defense didn't play that poorly. There was a bunch of turnovers and explosive plays. That was pretty much the story of the game there. Marshall turned the ball over 5 times. It just kept giving up explosives. They weren't consistently getting the ball moved on them by Coastal. It was a 35.3% success rate. So Marshall's defense didn't look as bad as the final score indicates. And this is historically a tough place to go score. So Tony Gibson's a defensive head coach, and maybe I could see hear out an argument for Marshall's defense. Problem is they've been susceptible to explosive plays all year. That's not a one-time thing. I think they're like 130th or something like that. But I could even be talked into, hey, Marshall's defense at home. I can even hear that out. The problem is James Madison's offense, it took them a few weeks to get going. They are cruising right now. They're averaging over 57 points per game in their last two. I said 57, not 47. 57 points per game, over 8.1 yards per play. Alonzo Barnett's playing the best football of his career right now. He's looking poised in the pocket. They're doing a good job keeping him clean. He's handling pressure well. James Madison's offense is humming right now. So even though Marshall's defense at home, I could even hear that out to find some value on a spot like that. James Madison just looks too good right now. And on the other side, this Marshall offense, it's been so jerky and reliant on the explosive plays, and it's an offense that wants to run the ball, but they're not even good at it. But the quarterback connects on some explosives, and James Madison, in their last two games, they played arguably the two strongest offenses in the conference in Old Dominion and Texas State, held them to 5.2 yards per play, 34.4% success rate. This is the best defense in the conference, and honestly, might even be the best offense in the country, in the conference, not the country. So, yeah, I think James Madison runs away with it. If James Madison plays even an average game here, they should win by 2 touchdowns plus. So, yeah, JMU for me.
And that's really good that you brought that up about the run, because Marshall is running the ball 62% of the time. They're not very explosive and they're not very efficient at it. And so what that's going to cause is it's going to cause a lot of third down situations. Marshall has found themselves in third down a ton this year. I mean, look at the attempts that they have to get out of each game: 16, 17, 15, 14, 16, 18. They're always in third down. Well, JMU doesn't give that up on the money down. So there could be a lot of situations for Marshall where they're up against it. They struggle to execute. They could be punting a lot.
Let's move on to the next game. All right. So at what point do we have to start showing Butch Jones some respect, man? I mean, they've won 4 in a row. This team has improved every year under Butch Jones. And last year, so last year was kind of viewed as a disappointment for Arkansas State. They went 8-5, but people had higher aspirations because they had Jalen Rayner coming back. He was the reigning Sun Belt Freshman of the Year, and they had kind of an easy schedule. So people were expecting more out of Arkansas State. They lost the 2 big games against Texas State in Louisiana last year. Coming into this year, they had a real ugly one early. They got beat by Kennesaw, which doesn't look as bad now looking back. They've won 4 in a row, and I think Nate Drayling's defense is finally coming around. Are you a buyer on Butch Jones?
Not this week. I mean, they've been very impressive defensively. The defense has been significantly improved from the defense that allowed 11 plays of 50 yards, 37 plays of 30 yards last year. They are much more improved than that. But the problem is, how are they winning these games? I mean, they were down by so many points against Texas State, found a way to come back and win. They were down 2 scores early against Georgia Southern, found a way to come back and win. South Alabama had the ball running out the clock. They committed a penalty which prohibited them from exhausting the clock. Then they line up for a field goal to go up by 4. This was like a 26-yard field goal. They miss it. And Arkansas State goes down and gets an explosive play and gets into field goal range, and they kick a field goal to win by 1. And South Alabama would have been up 5. And so they're just winning these games very, very miraculously. Now, last week was a full circle performance. They were 7.5-point dogs. They really stifled everything Troy wanted to do with their defense. So it was very, very impressive. Now, you're playing the second best team in the entire conference, and the way that the Sun Belt is situated with the divisions is as such that Southern Miss cannot take a week off. If you lose this game, you lose the control of your path to the conference championship game. So I think we're going to see a really, really focused effort. I like what Huff has been doing. I think Southern Miss is much better. I laid the short number on the road with Southern Miss.
I disagree here. I think you got to go Arkansas State. I don't know how good Southern Miss is right now. They haven't really been consistently running the ball. They lit Louisiana Monroe up, but I mean, they're not a good football team. In 3 games prior, they weren't consistently running the ball. The offense hasn't even been very efficient. I know they're putting up big numbers on the scoreboard, but they've been relying on Braxton throwing the ball, which that is not the recipe that won them the Sun Belt Championship last year. I think Southern Miss has been kind of benefited from a favorable schedule. What's their most impressive win, would you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, App State was a good win. They just all these teams play the same teams because they're in the same division. So I mean, Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana, Georgia Southern. That's all the same teams that Arkansas State is going to have ended up beating as well.
Right. So yeah, and if it was a pick 'em, I would hear you out. But we're talking about laying more than 4 on the road. I'm just wondering what in Southern Miss's body of work would warrant laying more than a field goal in this game. Arkansas State's defense is coming around. They've got a quarterback that can make plays. They've got a quarterback that's mobile and has shown he can make throws under pressure. I kind of wanted to go Arkansas State.
I mean, I don't hate and I know a lot of sharp people that like Arkansas State this week. I happen to be on the other side. I happen to think that Southern Miss is better on special teams. I think they're better defensively. I think when you look at Arkansas State and the way that their offense has operated, for years Arkansas State had such an explosive offense. They could put up all the points, and even under Butch Jones, they had that for some time. But this offense is not that. They struggle at times to move the ball. They really rely on chunk plays. Sometimes they get them, sometimes they don't. Sometimes Rayner can make the plays, sometimes he can't, but they don't convert third down well. They really don't convert tremendously well in the red zone. They have a lot of empty possessions. I'm just not a believer in what I've seen on the field. I think they've been very, very fortunate. They're only scoring touchdowns 50% of the time. They've had several empty red zone trips, and they've kicked a lot of field goals. I don't think field goals are going to win this game.
Yeah, I didn't bet this one, but I would go Arkansas State if I was. I did bet the next one.
Let's hear it.
I want the weather to be disgusting, dude. I want the sloppiest Kinnick game ever. I'm on the Hawkeyes. I got 6.5. I know that there are some people that are betting this up, though. Are you one of them?
Not at current, no. But, I will say it's going to be real interesting. Kinnick's a real hard place to go and win, and it's a shame this game's not at night. And who is this Iowa team that scored 34 points per game the last 3 weeks against Wisconsin, Penn State, and Minnesota? It's been really stunning to see their offense really completely light it up and start to find themselves here. The concern that I have is, can they effectively run the ball here against the Ducks? Oregon allowing 3.3 yards per carry on the ground this year. PFF grades their defense as 3rd overall in the Big Ten, 5th against the run, 2nd in overall tackling grades. And the Ducks coverage unit is elite. They have held opponents to under 150 yards passing in 6 out of 7 games this year against FBS competition. I would wonder if this one is one. Well, first of all, it's going to be slow paced. The weather is going to have an impact. There's going to be some wind, going to be some rain, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, 10-yard war. This is what this game's going to be. How does Iowa move the ball here? They may not be able to run it against this defense. Not many teams have. So now you're going to task Gronowski with being in 3rd medium or worse and having to throw it against this elite secondary. I kind of feel like the price is cheap on Oregon, a little too cheap. I think Oregon will have been prepared by their trip to Happy Valley for the whiteout at night. I think they can go into a tough road environment and compete. I have not gotten to the window either way here, but this seems a little tight here and a little bit cheap on Oregon.
What's the number right now? Oregon plays Indiana on a neutral.
4, Indiana -4.
Yeah, because I took Iowa +7 or +8.5 against Indiana, and it was the right side 1,000%, and that was
1,000%,
and that was in good weather at Kinnick. So at 6.5, I think Indiana's a couple points better than Oregon, and it's nasty weather. Man, this place is going to be going crazy.
Who does that weather help? Who does that weather help or hurt, though?
I think it hurts. I'm not sure. I just think I'm not sure if it really helps hurt either team. I just think it adds more variance to the game, and it's a sloppy, physical game. I just think it decreases the chances of the chance of a blowout.
Oh, I don't think it'll be a blowout either way. But would you be stunned if it was 24-17?
No, of course not. Of course not. But yeah, the way Indiana looked in Kinnick, they struggled to move the ball. Iowa was in that game till the very end. Remember, that should have been even a field goal game. Surratt broke a touchdown run to make it 7. It should have been a field goal game. Iowa could have won that game outright. And we saw Indiana go on the road. Now, I know sports aren't transactional, especially not college football. But I think based on what we've seen from Iowa, I would have taken this Iowa plus 6.5 before this recent offensive surge from the Hawkeyes. Now the add in the fact that the run game seems to be coming around. Now, granted, are they going to be able to run the ball in Oregon? I get the concern there. I'm not really sure if I trust it, but they're running the ball. They look like Caleb Johnson's still there from last year. They're running the ball extremely well in the last few games. So I think it really levels the playing field, and I wouldn't have this one higher than 3.5, 4. So yeah, I'm on the Hawkeyes.
Let's confirm that weather, too, because that total got steamed up. It was 43, 42.5, and then it got bet down all the way to 40 flat, and now it's back up to 43.5. So I think we should confirm how bad that weather is going to be. That'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I'm going to look. 99% chance of rain. But
how much rain?
The site I use doesn't say. It gives me a percentage. That's it. Oh, the site I got to use your site. What is it? Windfinder?
Yeah.
That site's awesome. All right. Next game up. I do have a bet on this one. I have under, but I got 49.5. So let's hear it.
I have 2 bets on this game.
Oh, okay. I'm all ears.
So, I was so impressed with Virginia last week in how they battled going across the country at California. They dominated the box score. They outgained California by 200 yards. And even during the last couple of weeks where Virginia's offense has not really been clicking and they've been playing in these close squeakers, the defense has shown up ready to roll every single week. Now we have Wake Forest, back-to-back games where the offense has struggled to get going. 4.1 yards per play against SMU with 13 total points. 3.5 yards per play last week, 7 total points. And Robbie Ashford has just not really played well the last couple of weeks. It's been kind of disappointing for Wake. The UVA defense per ACC standards is absolutely legitimate. 20, 16, and 21 points allowed the last 3 weeks, 3.4 yards per rush. They're top 4 per PFF in the ACC in overall D, tackling, special teams. And Wake is so heavily penalized, over 600 penalty yards against Wake Forest on 67 accepted penalties against them. They find ways to make mistakes. They find ways to either extend opponent drives or set themselves back. And Wake Forest has been in 3rd and long a ton this year, and they do not convert 3rd down very well at all. UVA's defense is excellent on 3rd down. They are exquisite in the red zone. Wake Forest's red zone offense is horrific. 19 out of 28 trips they've scored on, but only 10 touchdowns. 10 of 28 red zone trips have resulted in touchdowns. Wake Forest team total under and full game under 48.5 is what I played.
We're in lockstep because I was leaning under or Virginia minus the point, so I agree completely. Yeah, Virginia defense deserves all the credit in the world. They played back-to-back games against maybe lower-tier ACC offenses in North Carolina and Cal, but they handled their business. Under 37% success rate in those 2 games. Wake Forest offense, the way they look right now, probably below both of them. Honestly, I would take North Carolina's offense over Wake's right now. This offense, it looks dysfunctional. Head coach Jake Dickert even came out and said we need to evaluate the quarterback position. So I don't even know if Ashford's definitely going to be playing quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Purdy out there. He was with Charlotte last year. When Purdy played, he started in the Oregon State game. Wake's offense, I guess, looked a little bit better. They put up a big number on the scoreboard. It wasn't exactly efficient. So I wouldn't be surprised if Purdy's in there. I haven't heard that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, Virginia's played great defense. Wake Forest can't move the ball. Should see a lot of running. Yeah. Also, Virginia's offense, by the way, not very efficient recently. I mean, in their last 4 games, under 37% success rate, under 4.7 yards per play. This Virginia offense looked so good early in the season. It's kind of disappeared. So that's why I didn't take Virginia and went with the under instead. But I do think Wake's offense is so bad, and this Virginia team's fired up, and they've kind of been just like skating by, getting these wins. I think they'll put an exclamation point on this one. So I think Virginia covers, but I did bet the under 49.5.
Well, at this point for me, I hope Virginia just wins because I'm holding a 200-1 futures ticket on Virginia. It's written, man. They're winning the ACC.
Wow. I wonder what is the current price on that?
3.5, 4-1.
Oh my God. It was 200-1.
200-1. I currently still hold the ticket.
You bet that with all the injuries at camp? They were crushed with injuries at camp. Wow.
Yep. But let's just say I'm a big Virginia fan this season for the next couple of weeks.
It's an easy team to root for. I mean, the whole world was rooting for Virginia in that Florida State standalone game. The entire planet was watching that game rooting for Virginia. All right. Let's head out to South Bend. I'm not really seeing a path here for Navy. Now, I will say the final score of last year's meeting between these two, a little bit deceiving. I think the final score was, I believe, 41-10. But Navy turned the ball over 6 times. So maybe the final score of last year's game a little bit deceiving, but this Navy defense is not good. In their last 4 games, it's almost a 50% success rate, over 6.4 yards per play. Notre Dame's offense, they've got probably the best running back in the country. CJ Carr looks great. Navy secondary can't cover anybody. Yeah, it just comes down to whether or not you think Navy's offense is going to be able to move the ball on Notre Dame's defense. Now, Notre Dame does have some injuries. Defensive tackle Gabriel Rubio is going to miss another game. He's like their 3rd defensive tackle, I think. Cornerback Christian Gray, that's one of their main corners. He might miss another game. But what do you think here? It would only be the Irish for me.
Well, Navy only was outgained by North Texas by 25 yards. They had 3 red zone turnovers, and they were stopped on downs just outside of the red zone. They had numerous opportunities to put more points on the board. Yep. It kind of feels like we've seen this song and dance before where Navy kind of runs through the light, easy breezy schedule early, and then they fade late. We saw the same thing play out last season. Now, when they played Notre Dame last year, the lights were certainly too bright. Like you had mentioned, they fumbled the game away badly, 6-0 turnovers. I think it was 51-17 they lost. But the middies were only catching 14.5 last year. Yeah. So maybe this time around the lights are not too bright for Navy. The offense, though, situationally has to execute better. North Texas did a nice job of defending the scheme last week. And 3rd and short, 4th and short has to be automatic for Navy, and it just wasn't last week. Again, the 3 turnovers, and they're stopped on downs just outside the red zone. It was just so brutal. Now, I think there's going to be a little bit of rain here at Notre Dame Stadium on Saturday, and it can be a little bit tricky to tackle when the players are wet and you got a wet field and all this other stuff. So I'm tempted to think that Navy can move it here a little bit, and you just have to avoid the turnovers. Again, 3rd and short, 4th and short has to be automatic. They're going to have to convert very, very soundly. Notre Dame's played a little tight the last couple of weeks. They've got a major spot looming next with a trip to Pittsburgh on deck. I would assume Notre Dame would be ready to go here, but Notre Dame money is going to continue to pour in through the rest of the week. If this hits 28, I'm going to take a stab on Navy.
Yeah, I do have that. It could be rain, sleet, or snow. So I do have that in my notes. I said this is exactly what I wrote. Depending on the weather, I would only lay it with Notre Dame, but if the weather's real bad, I don't want to be on that. If Notre Dame was 8-0, I can maybe see them taking it easy in the second half, but they need statement wins. All right, so yeah, I don't really have much interest in this one. I was just reading off my notes. We had Navy plus the points. I bet this last one.
I'll take 4 touchdowns with Navy.
I bet this last one, and I hate to say it, I'm turning on our guys. It's time to
taking the bows.
Yep, you gotta.
Oh boy, tell me why.
I will tell you why. So, is there an injury update on Denagle?
I don't think he's hurt, is he?
He's listed as questionable, yeah. But I don't know. It might just be like a precaution. Like it might just be one of those where he's not. Yeah,
I'm certain he's playing. I didn't hear anything about him not playing.
Hold on. I'm going to read the exact thing because I want to make sure that I didn't misread it now. San Diego State. My bet isn't based on that, but Denagle listed as questionable for the Hawaii game with an undisclosed issue. Fox Sports. Denagle has a question mark for Saturday's contest, and a decision on his status will be made closer to Saturday's 11 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. RotoWire yesterday. But anyway.
Oh, goodness. He's playing. He's playing.
I'm on Hawaii regardless. So let's get the bows up here. I think our guys are in trouble. Oh, that Hawaii offense looks good. And all right, so first of all, San Diego State's offense, Sean Lewis seems to have figured it out. They're cruising last 4 games. We really had to sweat last week against Wyoming, but they did pull it out. Obviously, you would agree if Denagle doesn't play, the Hawaii +7's a great bet. You agree with that? I mean, we think they're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you might be thinking, well, Kyle, doesn't matter. Hawaii's defense has been getting lit up recently. And that's true. But look at the opponents. I mean, San Jose State, Utah State, Air Force. I mean, these are very strong Mountain West offenses. I mean, now they're back at home. San Diego State's offense didn't look that fluent last week against Wyoming. I mean, our bets shouldn't have been that much of a sweat, but the fact that it was is a little bit concerning. Now they're going over the Pacific to play in Hawaii against Dennis Thurman's aggressive defense. I think he's able to give him some problems. I'm sold on the San Diego State defense, not as sold on the San Diego State offense. I didn't really like what I saw last week. So I think Dennis Thurman can send some blitzes and cause some problems here for San Diego State offensively. And on the other side of the ball, I mean, how can you argue with Alejado right now? I mean, he was hobbled early in the season. If you remember, he played the Arizona game basically on one leg, I think it was. In the last 4 games, he's averaging over 384 passing yards per game. He's looking mobile, delivering throws. San Diego State's defense looks excellent, but Hawaii's offense looks every bit as excellent, averaging over 39 points per game in their last 4. And if you look at San Diego State's defensive game logs, what passing attacks have they seen? Like, what quarterbacks have they seen?
Well, so I looked at this from a similar lens where I want to consider the competition. Micah Alejado fully recovered from the injury, and the Bows have looked great offensively, but why don't we consider the competition? Air Force, atrocious defense. Utah State, horrific defense. Colorado State, the same. San Jose State, awful. Just terrible, terrible defenses. Not even in the same realm as San Diego State. You look at San Diego State, top defense overall in the conference, top run defense, top tackling, top coverage, best special teams, elite special teams, excellent coverage unit, only allowing 50% completions, 2 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions the last 3 weeks. You're not running on these guys. Hawaii certainly isn't going to run it anyway, but you're not running on San Diego State. The question here is, can the run and shoot exploit anything pertaining to this defense? I will say that I can appreciate that Hawaii has their full arsenal of receivers now, and they have looked a lot better offensively and a lot more explosive, but they have played folding chairs on defense. It has been it's just not even comparable. So I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. San Diego State is going to have to play really good defensive football. Hawaii's not going to just roll in there and throw up 38. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's probably going to be very similar in nature to how the Fresno State game played out, which is back and forth, probably a field position game, a little bit of feeling each other out. Maybe Hawaii's offense catches fire late. I'm not advocating laying, and I haven't laid. What I did do is I did play the under, and I think the under is probably where we should. I played it earlier in the week at a number that's no longer available. I know nobody cares what I bet it at earlier. I still think if we're at 50 or 49.5, we're okay. I played 52.5.
Oh, good bet. Yeah, and I also have under written down, so we're in agreement there. And yeah, I think this is a really scary spot for San Diego State, and by no means am I suggesting Hawaii's going to go off here offensively at all. Yeah, they're averaging 38, 39 points per game in their last 4 against some bad defenses. I get it. But I think when it comes to San Diego State's defense, you could kind of say the same thing in a sense that they haven't played many quarterbacks this year. And in addition to playing a talented quarterback who's playing the best football of his career right now, they're also flying across the Pacific Ocean to play in Honolulu. Yeah, I think Hawaii's offense is able to move the ball enough to keep the game close. Not expecting a shootout, but just move the chains here and there to keep the clock rolling. And yeah, I agree with under too. I'm putting under up. In fact, I might bet the under with you. Let's say 24-23, Hawaii upsets them.
Yeah, and you can get 50.5 right now. So that's where we're at there. 50.5.
You can get 50.5 right now. So yeah, I might bet the under with you. And it's the 11 p.m. game too. Stay up watching with 2 bets. That actually sounds like a lovely way to spend Saturday night.
Yeah, and think about this too, and get all the points you can because those points could really matter. If you look at Hawaii this season in the red zone, it has been rough. They have settled for the scoring percentage is good, but they've settled for 13 red zone field goals this season. Well, what does San Diego State give up in the red zone? Not very much, I'll be honest with you. Their red zone defense has been elite. 8 red zone touchdowns all season given up. So if Hawaii gets down there with the condensed field and their style of play, they're going to kick field goals. They're going to make the field goals because they have a great kicker, the Tokyo Toe. But is what they call them. But it's going to be a field goal fest, I think.
Yeah, field goals fest sounds good to me. Hawaii and under. I bet Hawaii. I'll bet the under too. Duck, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, so I'm at the Action Network. I do the G5 Deep Dive, which gets released on Apple and Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts on Wednesday mornings. I do a Friday live show with Michael Calabrese. We do the Saturday morning live show. I host or co-host the Bet US live show on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then every Thursday at midnight, I'm on your program. So we're excited about kind of coming into the home stretch of the college football season. And then hopefully you and I will be able to shake it out and talk some college hoops this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, college hoops is we're doing some preliminary shows with the early stuff. We really get into it in January. What a perfect segue, because Toast is about to come on and talk some college hoops. Someone asked, let me scroll up and find that comment. It's Kenny. Kenny asked Duck, thoughts on South Dakota State -6.5 at South Dakota?
Yeah, so South Dakota State, their starting quarterback Chase Mason went out with injury. The backup Luke Marble has just been really, really atrocious this season. They lost last week on their home turf outright against a really horrific Indiana State team. They were 32-point favorites and lost. That followed up a loss against North Dakota State. That first loss is excusable. South Dakota State stinks. They are not nearly the same team as they were last season. The problem is University of South Dakota is also in a similar situation. Now, they beat North Dakota last week, but in the trenches, they are way, way down compared to Priors. I think South Dakota State will win this game. These are 2 programs, by the way. They're about 100 miles away from each other, hate each other. This is a spirited rivalry between 2 proud FCS programs that do not like each other. They play in the Dakota Dome in Vermilion, and that place is going to be rocking. It'll be on ESPNU, so I would tune in. I think South Dakota State will win the game. I'm not dying to lay it after I looked into it more. I think it's an under game. I like the under. I think it's going to be low scoring, slow pace, and I think the under and the first half under are good.
He also asked, you don't have to answer this. It's Kenny Toast. Kenny's asking him FCS. He asked if you can list your top 5 in the FCS.
Yeah, I think we're going to go North Dakota State is number 1. Montana and Montana State are kind of interchangeable.
Montana sucks.
No, they do not suck. They're but then Lehigh, no one's talking Lehigh, and they are against the spread kings, and Lehigh is a very, very underrated Patriot League football team. They're going to get a top 8 seed. My 5th best, Harvard.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not big on Montana. I think they're fraudulent. Personally,
fraudulent defense.
Duck, enjoy your night, man.
No way. All right, guys, have a good night.
Yeah, Duck doesn't realize we're trolling him. Yeah. I'm sure Kenny will DM him and share his thoughts on his list. He's going to keep you apprised on all things Montana now. All right, Toast.
Man. Good evening.
Did you have any bets tonight? I don't even remember what you had.
Yeah.
What'd you have?
I had all kinds of bets. I went 8-6 today.
Nice
I'm sorry. Well, that's with NFL. Sorry. I'm up like a half a unit, or I'm up like a unit, maybe. Yeah, I'm up a unit.
No, nice little day. Nice little day.
Yeah, as long as Portland doesn't blow the 12.5, they're up by 18 with 2 to go. So as long as they don't blow that up 1.1 units, can't complain about that.
Not at all. All right, we got 4 games picked out, and this is an awesome one here. We got Kansas, North Carolina. Is this on a neutral?
No, this is in Chapel Hill.
Wow, what a game! And they're only laying 1, so that means on a neutral court, they've got Kansas about a 1.5 up on North Carolina.
Yes. Yeah, I took Kansas +2, regurgitating what Duck just said. I know nobody cares about the numbers that I got, but I still think there's plenty of 1.5s out there as well. Okay, first of all, both of these teams don't really have guys that have played in these type of big games, really. A lot of these guys are all new. I think you could say for North Carolina, Seth Trimble has played in some games, but besides that, it's a whole bunch of new pieces, new to this North Carolina team and new to this Kansas team. For me, I think that Hubert Davis is on the hot seat. I don't think that's a hot take either, but I know that he's had 2 decent years, 1 and then 2 really bad years. But with all those guys gone now, with Davis and Armando Bacot and all those guys, I just really think it's going to be hard for him to navigate this Kansas team, who I personally think that Kansas is night and day better. I think they're kind of underrated right now. I think everybody remembers Kansas having a somewhat down year last year. But again, keep in mind, they play in the Big 12. That's like probably the best conference in college basketball. Keep in mind, a down year for Kansas is 21-13, and they lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament to an Arkansas team that kind of caught fire. So that's a down year for Kansas. Now they got a whole bunch of guys like Darian Peterson, that freshman kid who's just an absolute animal. And I don't really think that North Carolina has the horses to keep up with these guys, on top of the fact I feel like I have a huge coaching advantage with Kansas. If there's one thing that North Carolina is going to have on a lot of teams, is a height advantage. They're one of the biggest teams in the country, but Kansas is right there with them. I got a more experienced team. I think I have a deeper bench with Kansas as well. I took the 2 here. I think this game's going to be close. I also lean to the over, but it's moved up about 4 points, I think. So I don't really want to get involved with that. But I think we see some points, and I think that Kansas wins.
It's a whiteout, though.
Oh, I know. They're going to need everything possible. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this line flips or whatnot. But I would listen to an argument that this is like one of the biggest games for Hubert Davis. I think that and also North Carolina kind of likes to get out and run and gun. I think that Self is going to have a plan to slow them down. Not that Kansas likes to play completely slow, but I trust Kansas more.
Yeah, I'm going with Dabby Cab in the comments. He's talking about Caleb Wilson, 5-star freshman, 22 points in the opener, whiteout, Chapel Hill.
Yeah, him, that Bogovich kid, that Jaden Young kid. Yeah, they're a very good basketball team. Obviously, it's like 2 of the Blue Buds. I mean, if you're taking North Carolina at home in a whiteout, I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah, North Carolina. Next up.
Fantastic game, though. Can't wait to watch it.
Did the Golden Grizzlies cover for you?
No.
You had a great day that day. I guess this was one of your losses.
That was like the one loss I had. Like, it was because I'm sure the comments were on my ass, because it was that and my dog walking it a day lost outright, which never helps.
Yeah. Well, the reason I remember that is someone commented making fun of it. So I went and looked, and it was, at the time, you were like 7-1. He was talking shit about your one loss.
Welcome to the internet, as you know.
Well, that's how it goes. Oakland on the road. Is this in what is it called?
Yeah, it's in Purdue.
Yeah.
Mackey, yeah.
Mackey, yeah.
I played the under in this game. I don't know what it's at currently. Okay, yeah, we're still at 155. We're good. I played 155.5 with the under. Purdue, one of the slower paced teams in the country. They could absolutely cook them with their guards and stuff like that, especially if TKR plays. I know that he's not a guard, but between him, Smith and Lawyer and TKR, they can score points, but they're also one of the slower paced teams in the country. They literally walk the ball up and down the floor. And on top of that, what I saw from Oakland, I don't really worry about them. They're playing these bigger schools and whatnot, teams that are kind of out of their radius as far as competition level. But I mean, Oakland last year 330th in 3-point percentage. I just have a hard time believing that they put up a whole bunch of points on this Purdue team personally. So I took the under 155. Both these teams also like to play really, really slow. Oakland last year, 337 in average possession length. So obviously one of the slowest teams in the country. So I have a feeling that we're going to see about like 65 possessions here. And I have a hard time believing this game goes over 155 with 65 possessions.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'll take under 2. Next up, 2 games remaining. We got Troy Furman. Interesting choice.
Interesting is right. I really love Furman here. I did kind of cower it out. I played them on the money line at minus 155, so I ate a little juice with this, but I got smoked last year, and I feel like a lot of the times I was getting killed on these lines, so I'm kind of taking a little bit of a new approach to see what it is, but I think we're having a buy low, kind of sell high on Furman right here, or Furman and Troy here. Furman, one of these teams that is coming off of a game where, I mean, I guess we can just say they got absolutely blown out by High Point, 97-71. But at the same time, Furman lost a turnover battle in that game, 22-6. I just have a hard time believing that they're going to be able to do that. Or they're going to have the same kind of turnover issues with Troy, Troy's coming off of a drubbing versus Kent State, but a Kent State team, they won that game 103-97 against Kent State. But like I just said, they gave up 97 points. So I don't really trust this defense for one until I see it. They can't rebound the basketball very well. And Troy really got hot from 3. They were 12 for 26 from deep. Last year, they were one of the worst teams in conference or in the country as far as 3-point percentage. They also won the turnover battle in that game as well. And they were one of the worst turnover teams in the country the year prior as well. I just think that this is kind of like one of those, like I said, buy low, sell high situations after this first game. So I actually made this game like Furman minus 4.5, but sitting minus 2.5. I would like it under 3, but yeah, I would take Furman right here. I played him on the money line though.
What time's this game at? 7 p.m.
Yeah. Sports scientist Jacob likes that one too.
I'll bet Furman with you because my football bet doesn't start till 8. So I'll watch this for an hour with you. So I'll bet Furman with you. All right. Last game up, Utah State, Virginia, Commonwealth. College basketball heads love Virginia Commonwealth. I just meant they love talking about them. I don't mean like they love the team. I just feel like we're always talking VCU basketball on this show.
Well, we do have Trevor on here a lot, so you know him. Trevor loves him some A10 ball. I played Utah State here again on the money line. Again, minus 155. I just think that they're the much better team. I understand the buzz around VCU and Phil Martelli coming in and a huge win against Wagner, their first game at home, 103-74. But now they go play a Utah State team on a neutral in Texas, so it's kind of in the middle of both of these teams, I guess. But for me, I just feel like Utah State is the much better team. I mean, Jared Calhoun has been absolutely dominating going back to like 2022, 2023. I mean, he was 24-10 at Youngstown State in 23. He was 22-10 at Youngstown State in 24. And then he just took over the Utah State job and went 26-8 his first year there. I just feel like he has everything that he needs at this school, and he's getting the recruits that he needs. And on top of that, you have a VCU team here that, again, you're still dealing with so many new pieces with a new coach. And going on the road in a neutral after a game in Wagner where, I mean, they shot over 40% from deep, almost 60% from the field. I just don't think that's going to happen against a Utah State team that I feel is significantly better than them. So Utah State hasn't really played a game yet. They played an unranked team. So I think that's why we're getting a little bit of a discount here. But I really think this should be at least 2 possessions. I truly believe that Utah State is significantly a better basketball team.
You got 2 people in the comments asking for Georgetown, Maryland. 7.5 feels short.
I was going to say Georgetown plus 8. Maryland should not be a favorite. Yeah.
Oh, Maryland's good as hell, I thought.
Yeah, but they got a new coach. They lost everybody from last year.
Let's go, Georgetown.
Yeah, I love Buzz Williams, and I do think that he'll probably do a good job in Maryland. But I think that Trevor talked a bit about this on his show as well. I think that Cooley versus Buzz Williams, with Cooley trying to get Georgetown right. I would definitely take the 8 there.
That's at 6 p.m. too. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Also, one other one I wanted to add, just because it's sauce. I laid 12.5 with St. Mary's. They should absolutely slaughter Chattanooga tomorrow. Chattanooga can't rebound. They can't shoot. St. Mary's is going to slow this game down to a crawl. I think that Chattanooga might get 3 rebounds in this game. I'm being exaggerating, but I think St. Mary's absolutely destroys that team.
Cool. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. There's a video up where I go through the 3 college football games for Friday night. So we want to check that out. It's uploaded. Everyone have a good night.